introduce Atul Bhatkalkar, who's an MLA of the BJP, joining us live from Mumbai. Anand Ranganathan, author and scientist, joining us live from the national capital. Vishal Sharma is a political analyst live with us from Mumbai this evening. And Barnali Basak, an advocate, joining us live from the national capital. Let me first go across to Anand Ranganathan and ask him, Anand, you've been following the story very closely. The Shiv Sena seems to be getting jittery. We don't know why, because we've been questioning the Mumbai police investigation and their open support for Riya Chakraborty in this case, which we believe is travesty of justice. And the kind of questions that we raised to the Maharashtra government has forced an editorial and some conversations that were exchanged between NCP's chief and Sena parliamentarians. Now, even that has been put on public record. So we believe it's an attempt to sort of, intimidate the media. Of course, we will not get intimidated. There will be more coming out tomorrow. But your observations as you look at the affidavit and the kind of approach that the government and the parties involved here are taking.
Yeah, good evening. This is shocking. But this is not unexpected. I have to say this. First Sonia came after Arnab and now it is Sonia Sena. I beg your pardon, Shiv Sena. Arnab has rattled quite a few with his and Republic's relentless coverage of the Sushant murder case. Actually, not only rattled, but also ruffled a lot of feathers, especially feathers of those whose normal habitat is Antarctica, if you know what I mean. The question is not how rattled and ruffled they are. The question we should be asking is, why are they rattled? Is Arnab a policeman? Is he an investigative agency? No, he's a journalist. And all he's doing is telling people that something is not right in the manner in which the Mumbai police has acted. Is that a crime in this country? From concluding so quickly that this was a suicide despite absence of a suicide note, to leaking the photos of the deceased, to not sealing the flat and carrying out a thorough forensic examination of the crime scene, to not taking a written statement of a man allowed to walk all around the crime scene, to not probing the money trail for more than a month. This case stinks. But what worries me is the following, that instead of admitting their botch-ups, they will now come after Arnab and Republic. We know already the state of freedom of speech and expression in Maharashtra. So many have been arrested for voicing their protest or mocking the Sakadi government. But because it is a quote-unquote secular government, no one is batting an eyelid. Question is not if, but when. When the armies of midnight come and knock at Arnab's door. I really wish Arnab all the best and I hope he stays safe.
Now, we have news for them, Anand. We have news for them that tomorrow we're coming back with a bigger investigation, and I want to take that question now also to Atul Bhatkalkar. Yeah. Atul.
Yeah.
Now, see, I'll tell you, it's bizarre because last we checked, Riya Chakraborty, an accused number one in this case, has admitted that she will be open to an investigation by the CBI on the 16th of July. 16th of July, she took to Twitter and she tagged the Home Minister of India and said that she was ready for a CBI investigation. Now, look at this. She has been named as accused number one by the same CBI that she said that she's open to be investigated by. And today, the Mumbai police, the Maharashtra government, the agencies, including BMC, all of them coming together, almost making a case for Riya, shielding her, giving her a ringside defense. Atul?
See, basically, Shiv Sena and Mahavikas Aghadi Sarkar now realize that truth is coming out. They will lose the case in Supreme Court because Mumbai police has not filed FIR after 50 days. Neither they close the case. And so now they have realized that they have botched up the whole investigation to make safe one politician in this case. And that's why even today, Sanjay Raut, in his article, criticized Mumbai police. Then in the evening, he said, no, I am not criticizing Mumbai police. Mumbai police are doing good job. The same CP against whom present Chief Minister of Maharashtra, he criticized Paramveer Singh in Kalyan Dombivli election like anything. You have that video also. Anybody can see that video on YouTube. And now they are trying to protect. And it is a very laughable and billion-dollar joke. Shiv Sena is saying that Arnab Goswami is using so-called derogatory words about the Chief Minister of Maharashtra. In fact, Arnab Goswami did not use a single derogatory word against the Chief Minister of Maharashtra. newspaper who said, used so many derogatory words, not about only BJP's leader and BJP worker, but about the Prime Minister of the country. हिंदी में कहना है तो इन्होंने तो प्रधानमंत्री का बाप निकाला था। वो आज महाराष्ट्र को और भारत को सभ्यता की बात सिखा रहे। ये तो $1 मिलियन जोक है। जिन्होंने भारतीय जनता पार्टी को गुंडा कहा, वो पार्टी सार्वजनिक पब्लिक लाइफ के सभ्यता की बात कर रहे हैं। ये $1 मिलियन जोक है। I can say through your channel that they cannot browbeat Republic or Bharatiya Janata Party or public of this Maharashtra, Janata of this Maharashtra. Truth will come out of this case, and those who are guilty will be behind bars in near future.
No, let me tell you that it's our duty to ask questions. Barnali, now the biggest irony is that instead of giving justice to the father of Sushant Singh Rajput, now I'll tell you something. Yesterday we asked some questions, and in the last 56 days we've been asking questions on the affidavit. I want to specifically point out, Barnali, and because you're an advocate, if you looked at the affidavit of the Maharashtra government filed in the Supreme Court, what did they say in that affidavit? In fact, out of 20 pages, 16 pages were dedicated to attacking Sushant Singh Rajput's father. Today the Shiv Sena comes on record and again attacks his father and calls it a political conspiracy, and then starts talking about the relationship between Sushant Singh Rajput and his father, right? And I can't remember the last time there was a story, Barnali. I can't remember the last time when such a story has happened. And even the Aam Aadmi, the common man, the viewer who's seeing the story, knows that this is a sham of an investigation. The loopholes are so many, I can't tell you the kind of response that we get on a daily basis. The loopholes in the cover-up is visible to everybody watching the story, except maybe the Mumbai police, the Maharashtra government and the Shiv Sena. Barnali.
It is very strange. It is absolutely strange that the government should come forward and cooperate with the investigation. But they are the ones who are trying to hush up the entire series of investigation. If they do not involve themselves and cooperate with the investigative procedures, then how will justice ever be done? And why are they trying to put it under the guards? I mean, we are seeking justice here for Sushant Singh and for all those people who are, committing suicide and people responsible for abetment of suicide. We are trying to bring them forward and to expose the government authorities. But here it is the government which is playing against, seeking for justice. And what is the fight for? Hats off to Republic and all the channels, and hats off to Arnab, the way he's taken up this issue, and he's been victimized now. He's been blamed for and he's attacked. It is only because of the media that this case has become so important and they've taken up this issue. And because of this one particular case, thousands of other cases would be given justice. Otherwise, everything is like a shut case. I mean, who would go ahead with the investigations? It's very easy to say that it is a suicide, they were going through depression, and the case is, it's an open and shut case. So that the investigating authorities are just, is it a sham? I mean, shouldn't they work? Here, everybody is looking forward to that some kind of justice be done to Sushant Singh. It doesn't look like that it was suicide. It is a murder. It seems, apparently it looks like it is a murder. But if the investigation is not done, then how will we look for justice here? The court system comes much later. It is first is the fight with the investigation. If the police don't, and police is a state subject, so Maharashtra government is entirely responsible for just shunning it out. And that will bring injustice.
Let me go across to Vishal also, because you mentioned the different. Barnali, you mentioned suicide here, and I was just,
Yes.
I wanted to make a mention, Vishal, of all the theories that they tried to push, right? You remember the first soundbite that was given after the death of Sushant Singh Rajput? I clearly remember because I was live when it happened.
It was very easy
And it
to
was
say that it was
the
a
DCP
depressive
rank
case.
officer, by the way, ironically, coincidentally, whatever you call it, No, let me tell you, Barnali, coincidentally, it was the same officer who shared phone calls with Riya Chakraborty. There were 4 phone calls, 2 incoming, 2 outgoing. It was the same officer. And let me also tell you that the same officer declared on that day, on the day Sushant died, that it was suicide, right? And so many theories that have been pushed, that he committed suicide, he was depressed, and that, all the names that propped up, everybody started giving them certificates, Vishal, including the likes of Sandeep Singh, Siddharth Pitani, and they said that he used to take pills. Each of these claims we've demolished in the course of our investigation, specific investigations that included sting operations, testimonies, and to prove through contradictions.
This particular case
still,
would
for
not
some
have
reason,
moved forward an inch. This case would not move forward an inch. It would have been an open and shut case right from the very beginning if the media would not have taken
That's what
it
I'm
up.
saying. That's what I'm saying, Vishal. Let Vishal take that, Barnali.
I want a lady speak in the middle. Is that the question for me? Yeah, Niranjan.
Yeah, Vishal, that was a question for you. You can go ahead. You can take that.
We have seen this, from the very beginning, it is a clear exercise to cover up. It is as apparent as that. But I would like to question the latest attack of the Shiv Sena on Arnab Goswami. I want to ask, is it a crime to consider the Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra as thoroughly incompetent? Is it a crime to consider the Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra as totally incapable? Is it a crime to consider the Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra to be an administrative failure? I'm sure from Antarctica to Anand Ranganathan, the people of India want to ask this question to Sanjay Rautji. Last I know that India is a constitutional democracy with the right to oppose and protest is available to one and all. But the right to close an investigation before even the forensic report comes, that right, I'm afraid, is not even available to the Mumbai police. And what has the Mumbai police been doing from the past 50 days is a question that is being asked not only in the Supreme Court of India, not only in the corridors of the Central Bureau of Investigations in Delhi, but I'm sure every retired commissioner of police of Mumbai city of the caliber of J.F. Ribeiro, of the caliber of Mr. Mendonça, of the caliber of Mr. M.N. Singh would like to ask Mr. Paramveer Singh a question. Okay, what has the Mumbai police been doing from the past 50 days? You have to come out and put the facts before the public. We want to know. A death is an unnatural death of young people is highly questionable. How can we, the people, accept it to be mere suicide? And now that we know that so many crores of rupees was siphoned off the accounts of Sushant Singh Rajput, we are hearing one more theory being spun by Mr. Sanjay Raut, raising questions on the relationship that Sushant had with his father. Well, sir, Sushant was an independent man. His father had brought him up from his childhood. Sushant lost his mother. His father brought him up. Even if there was some, the father never visited Mumbai. How many times did Sushant visit Patna? I mean, who would ask these questions? I remember when Mr. Sanjay Raut, the Honorable Member of Parliament, when he had a heart issue and he was admitted in hospital, people from across the political lines wished Sanjay Raut well. Hence, it does not suit him to comment on Sushant's relationship with his father, especially when the father is grieving. This is not the time to question these things, Mr. Sanjay Raut, and especially when so many facts are coming out. And I would also like to say one more thing, Niranjan. Hats off to Arnab Goswami. Hats off to the Republic TV. Had Republic TV not carried out this investigation relentlessly, you tell me, would these facts have come into public domain? Never. The Mumbai police would have closed this chapter.
I'll tell you one more thing, Vishal.
And the matter
I'll tell you one more thing, Vishal.
Yeah,
I want to make one more point and I want to go across to Anand, but I'll let Anand take that question after the break. Just think about this. Barnali, one second. Barnali, I have to take a short break. But I'm going to make an observation now of what has happened. And then I want you to think about this, and when we come back and take this further, I want Anand to take that question. Just think about this. When this investigation began, what did they tell us? They told us that Disha Salyan case, Sushant Singh Rajput death case are not linked, right? Isn't that what they said, Anand? They said it's not linked. Today, after we brought out Smita Parikh's version, Sushant's confidant who spoke to Republic TV, it's a 31-minute conversation. And then with Amit Bharadwaj, there was another aide who spoke, 31-minute conversation. talking about the direct link between Disha Salian murder and Sushant Singh Rajput murder, there has been a reinvestigation. Believe it or not, finally, there has been a reinvestigation and that case is being opened up after 2 months. We'll tell you more about that. Anand, I want you to take that question. We'll take a short break and come back. Stay tuned.